Hey friends, I want to talk about something I see every single day in the clinic, at the gym, and online. People are trying to build muscle, lose weight, heal their hormones, fight inflammation, even prevent disease, but they're doing it on protein bars and shakes. So, I'm Dr. Cindy, and I know it's been a few weeks. I hope you guys all had a great holiday. I wanted to take a break and give you guys a break on here, and I thought this was a great conversation to start back the new year because everyone's trying to eat better, and I just want to make sure that you're doing that the correct way and the most efficient way, and the way that's going to treat your body amazing. So, let's dive into this, and it's going to be all about protein today. I'm going to be honest, as a functional medicine doctor and someone who lives this lifestyle, real food will always beat processed protein. Always. Bars and shakes were never meant to replace meals. They were created for convenience, not health. I have to remind Jason this all the time because we do have a protein powder. We use the Naked brand. No, no affiliation whatsoever. We just like it because there's no additives in there. And we use a pea protein, and we also have their whey. I used to use their pea protein, but about maybe over a year ago, I got away from using protein powders altogether, even out of convenience. I make sure that I always have egg whites on hand if I'm hungry, if I'm in a rush. I just felt like they just were not doing my body justice. When you rely on convenience long term, your body pays for it. So, why does protein matter so much? First, let's talk about why protein is so important, especially as we age. Protein gets mistaken like it's just for bodybuilders. It's not, although, like, I am bodybuilding right now, and I am getting about a we're going to go over this again and again in this segment, but forever, they would say too much protein is hard on your kidneys, could call could call, cause kidney disease, or another one would be a gram per pound of body weight. Well, new studies are surfacing, and it's now saying, like, especially for perimenopause and menopausal women, gram and a half per pound of body weight. More protein, the better. It builds muscle. It stabilizes blood sugar, supports hormones, heals tissues, strengthens immunity. It keeps your metabolism strong, helps you stay lean, protects against being frail and a lot of inflammation in your body. After about age 30, and especially in menopause, we naturally lose muscle every year unless we actively fight for it. And guys, for you as well, once you're hitting 30, your testosterone levels are starting to drop, so protein is going to be very important. I, I'm always my own guinea pig, right? And I don't preach it unless I try it. And I was probably under eating for a very long time, not getting enough protein, probably a little less than a gram per pound of body weight. And now I weigh 125, and I'm getting in about 260 grams of protein per day. I know that sounds like a lot, but my body really likes it. I'm thriving. I'm stronger than ever in the gym. I'm lean, and that's what I try to keep preaching to my ladies. Like, don't be afraid to add the protein in. And one of my go-tos, especially like if I'm trying to be in a calorie deficit, and I know a lot of you are trying to be in a calorie deficit, especially with all these New Year's resolutions. Egg whites are a great go-to. I get the carton of egg whites, scramble them, add them to smoothies. They're a great go-to. A lot of protein, very, very little calories. All right, so remember, muscle is your longevity organ. And how do we build the muscle is by eating protein. More muscle equals better insulin sensitivity, stronger bones, lower cancer risk, and better energy. So, yes, we need protein, but how you get it matters. Delivery is everything. So, let's talk about the problem with the bars and the shakes. Most protein bars and shakes are what we call ultra processed foods. If you've ever had a protein bar and you notice, if you're very in tune with your body, you're going to notice that you're probably pretty gassy after, and that's usually the sugar alcohols that they add to it. And yes, they're delicious and it tastes like a candy bar, But one of the things I remember, my brother a couple years ago, he was so proud. He was like, "Hey sis, I stopped by the gas station and I got one of these Metrics protein bars," and he was so proud. And when I told him to look at the label and read what was in it, it was actually worse than a candy bar. The sugars, the carbs, the little amount of protein that was in it. So make sure, if you do stop and you need a protein bar and that's the only option you have, make sure that you are reading that label to see if that is the best option for you. And a lot of times, like, if you do stop by a convenience store, and I've noticed this especially over the last year or so, they have actually hard-boiled eggs. Like, they'll have like a little section where they have fruit and everything, and they have hard-boiled eggs. So look for that instead of grabbing a protein bar. It's going to be so much healthier for you. Your stomach's going to thank you. Your muscles will thank you. So what are in these protein bars? What are in these shakes? So they're usually made with protein isolates, artificial sweeteners, which is going to make your stomach hurt, gums and fillers, seed oils. I had a couple patients last week ask me if this certain vegan protein powder was fine, and the first thing in it was a seed oil. So you think that you're doing good, but you got to really watch those labels, because they will hide in there, and it will absolutely diminish what your goals are. There's also going to be flavor chemicals, and there's a lot of preservatives in these, even the healthy ones. So here's the issue. When you strip protein out of food and turn it into a powder, you're going to lose digestive enzymes, your micronutrients, minerals, healthy fats, fiber, and natural absorption pathways. Okay, so those are all things that are out the door once you consume it in a powder form. Your body doesn't process it the same. I know when I was doing the protein powders, I was in a flare, so I don't know if I was as in tune with my body, because I was in so much pain, and what I thought that I was doing right probably wasn't, but my body just stayed bloated, it stayed inflamed, and I attribute a lot of this to the powders, because when I stopped those protein powders, everything got better. Another thing that people don't realize is testing has found heavy metals like lead in a lot of these protein powders. So if you think that you might have like a lead toxic burden, get checked. Find a functional medicine doctor. We can get our hands on any of those tests to check to see what's happening. So not once in a while, but daily exposure, when people rely on shakes, actually can cause a heavy metal burden. So if there is lead in there, you need to really go get checked. Like, be observant, see how your body feels. So why does this matter? It matters for hormones, it matters for the brain, it matters for cancer risk, it matters for detox pathways. So why am I so big on real food versus these protein powders? Real food protein is superior. Let's talk about what real food does differently. When you eat protein from real food, eggs, fish, chicken, grass-fed meats, beans, lentils, tofu, whole foods, you're getting complete amino acid profiles. You're getting your B vitamins. If you're a patient of mine, you come to me, a lot of times if I see that you're deficient in your B vitamins, I don't supplement you with B vitamins. We work on gut integrity, and we're working to restore to where you're absorbing them, and our whole goal is to get you absorbing them through food, because that's going to be the best reference. That's going to be the best source. You're going to be getting zinc, iron, magnesium, your healthy fats, your antioxidants, and natural enzymes. And all of these work together. They build muscle properly. They keep you full longer. If you're drinking your protein, you're not really getting that satisfaction of eating, chewing. So you're going to be hungrier faster, which means that you're not going to be in that deficit that you want, because you went overboard on your calories, because a lot of times you don't even realize how many calories are in these protein shakes, especially if you're buying them already mixed. You have no clue what's in them. But then if you're making them and you're just kind of dumping everything in the kitchen sink in the blender, you're going way over your calories, especially if you're not measuring everything out. If you're eating your protein, you're stabilizing cravings, you're lowering inflammation, you're supporting hormone production, and you're improving your gut health, okay? Because everything processes a little bit better. That's something that no protein bar can replicate, no protein shake can replicate. I always tell patients, if it comes in a wrapper with a marketing slogan, it's probably not meant to be a daily staple. And I can assure you there's a lot of things in those ingredients that you cannot pronounce. And I always say, if you cannot pronounce it, you probably don't need to put it in your body. Nature already packaged protein perfectly. We just complicated it. When shakes can be okay, all right, so a lot of people ask me this. They get put in the hospital for whatever reason. A lot of times they're getting put on Ensure. They're getting put on all these already pre-mixed protein shakes. Now, if you are in need of caloric intake and you feel like you need a weight gainer that has the added protein, sometimes that's okay. I have cancer patients that are on them. Again, you need to watch out for the sugar, see where the sugar is being derived from. If it is, cane sugar, there's always better ways to get it. So just make sure you're reading the labels. There are moments it can be useful. Post-workout, occasionally. Again, it's not a staple every day. If you use it occasionally, it's permissible. When appetite is very low, maybe you got the flu is going around like crazy right now, and you don't have a big appetite, it's fine. Grab a smoothie, add the protein powder in, make sure you're adding your chia seeds, your flax seeds. During illness or recovery, we always want to make sure that your albumin levels are high, so this is a time that I would add in the protein shakes. My father was a amputee with diabetes before he passed, and I would always ensure that he was drinking protein shakes, especially around his surgeries, just to make sure that he healed faster. And then travel emergencies. If you're on the road, if you're traveling with my husband, because he is like, let's go, we're not stopping, you either have your food packed with you in the front seat or have a protein shake available, because a lot of times you just got to get there. But again, it should be a tool, not part of your everyday diet. If most of your protein comes from liquid or bars, I can almost guarantee that you are having blood sugar issues, that you're having cravings, that your fat loss is stalled, you're probably struggling with hormones, and I can guarantee you got gut inflammation. Only because I lived it and I know it. I see it every week in labs. So many people think that they're doing right by these, and it crushes my feelings every time that I hear that they're doing protein shakes and bars. Okay, so let's talk about practical real food protein ideas. We can make it simple and doable. And I'm sorry, my husband is upstairs vacuuming right now, so that's what you hear. Alright, so some easy real food protein ideas. Breakfast, eggs with veggies. I do it every single day. Greek yogurt or plant yogurt with nuts and seeds. Tofu scramble. Lunch, salmon salad, chicken bowls, lentil soups, bean and quinoa bowls. Dinner, fish and veggies. Your lean meats, of course, grass-fed is always better, with greens. Stir fry with tofu or shrimp. Snack ideas, hard-boiled eggs like we talked about at the convenience store. Hummus with veggies, leftover protein from meals, nuts and seeds. Keep it simple. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be some gourmet meal. Keep it simple. And I eat the same thing. I eat 8 meals a day, and I keep it simple. I do rotate my proteins. I do eggs. I do fish. I do grass-fed ground beef. I'm doing ground chicken. I'm doing chicken breast. I'm doing ground turkey. So I do mix it up. I'm even doing venison now. But I do keep it simple. Just a few spices in there, and I'm sauteing it, or either bake it in the oven, and I keep it simple. Alright, so I want to open this up for if you have any questions. I am live on TikTok, and I'm live on Facebook. So if you have any questions, drop them now. I've compiled some questions that people have asked me over like the past 3 or 4 weeks, because I have really developed some upper body strength, and I attribute it a lot to my protein intake. So things that we're going to go over in these Q&As. How much protein do you need? plant versus animal protein, best options in menopause, post-workout nutrition, cancer prevention nutrition, gut issues with protein. And I want to make sure that you're not getting so much protein that you're off balance. We want to make sure that you stay within balance. That way, you're not having any constipation or diarrhea or anything like that. We want to make sure that your body and the terrain is nice and healthy. And again, the more protein, we're stabilizing blood sugars, which means that we're not feeding cancer cells. It's a win-win. Okay, so how much protein should I eat? So the recommended that's been forever has been 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight dependent on activity and health. Well, I would say 1 gram, no less than 1 gram. And then if you are perimenopause or menopausal, I would say 1.5 grams. Men, if your testosterone levels have dropped and you're not doing any hormone replacement therapy, I would actually focus on 1.5 grams or 2 per pound of body weight as well. Before you increase that protein intake, get some labs ran, see what your kidney function looks like, look what your protein levels look like. Just see what your baseline is. That way you know that everything's improving. If there's any red flags that we need to look at, I always say you cannot manage what you're not measuring, so get your labs done if you're about to change up anything. Can I do plant-based protein? Yes, but I want you to focus on whole foods like lentils, beans, tofu, tempeh, quinoa, nuts. Now for me, I was plant-based, vegan for 8 months in 2024. It didn't work for me. I stayed inflamed. I was doing all the whole food plant-based proteins like the lentils and the beans, tofu, and I just stayed inflamed. It did not work for me. I do much better on a meat diet. I don't even want to say diet, a meat lifestyle. And more vegan, not more vegan, more keto-like. So I get my vegetables in, my good fats, and my protein. I still don't do any grains. I get all my carbs usually from vegetables. And I have recently, about the last month and a half, 2 months, I've been doing pumpkin puree. Did my homework on it, love it, my body loves it. The glycogen fills my muscles, gives me energy, and my muscle bellies love it. So you just got to figure out what works for you. We're all a science experiment. There's no one size fits all. Are all shakes bad? No, they're just not daily meal replacements. Is protein important for menopause? It is the most important thing for menopause. It prevents muscle loss, fat gain, insulin resistance, and something that is near and dear to my heart, bone loss. I just ordered, does anybody have the Hume scale, Hume scale? I just ordered it. Comes in Friday. I'm pretty excited about it because bone density is one of the things that I've really battled with after the hysterectomy in 2001. For a decade, I didn't take any hormone replacement therapy, and I lost a lot of bone. And so I bounced between osteopenia and osteoporosis for 2 decades. So now that I'm back heavy lifting and everything, bone loss matters the most to me. That's a huge indicator for my health. So eat your protein to prevent that bone loss, okay? Also, get a DEXA scan done if you've never had one done. Get a DEXA scan, see what your baseline is. Does protein help cancer prevention? Yes. Muscle health, immune support, metabolic control, and inflammation reduction. Remember, inflammation and insulin resistance is feeding those cancer cells. So if we can minimize it, that means those cancer cells are turned off. We don't want to turn them on. It's usually the carbohydrates and the sugars that turn them on. So eat your protein. Is too much protein bad for your kidneys? In healthy individuals, higher protein from real food is not harmful. The myth came from kidney disease patients being studied, not healthy people. That is a problem with these studies. A lot of times it's from already diseased people that they're making these claims on, not healthy people. Real food protein actually improves blood sugar control and muscle mass, which protects your long-term health, including your kidneys. What if I don't feel hungry enough to eat protein meals? That usually means that blood sugar is dysregulated or the gut is inflamed. Liquids are easier to consume, but they don't fix the root issue. Once you stabilize meals with real food protein, appetite and energy usually normalize. So it means that you are having a blood sugar dysregulation, metabolic dysfunction. Are collagen powders enough for protein? No, they're not. They usually have about 9 grams. I like my women perimenopause, menopause to be getting 35 to 45 grams of protein per sitting, per meal. So the collagen peptides usually have about 9 grams, if that. I do take one post-workout with my creatine every single day, and it's got about 9 grams of protein. Collagen is missing key amino acids for muscle building. It's great for joints and skin, but it cannot replace real protein sources. What's wrong with clean ingredient protein bars? Even the clean ones are still ultra processed, and they lack the nutrient synergy of whole foods. They digest faster, they spike blood sugar more easily, and they don't keep you full as long. You're going to end up overeating. Next question, should women eat as much protein as men? Yes, especially in menopause, when muscle loss accelerates, and that's for you guys too. Women are often under-eating protein and paying for it with fat gain, fatigue, and bone loss. You're going to notice a composition change in your skin. That means you're losing muscle, gaining fat, and it's because we don't have enough protein. Can protein help cravings and emotional eating? 100%. Protein stabilizes blood sugar and hunger hormones. Most cravings are actually low protein and blood sugar crashes. At about 2 o'clock, I was eating 7 meals a day, and about 2 o'clock I noticed that I was hungry. My metabolism was really churning, and that's when I started adding in a cup of egg whites a day, and it's just pure protein, and I literally could not eat for the rest of the day if I wanted to, because it just keeps me that full. So, again, keep some egg whites on hand. If you feel like you're crashing, add in some protein and you don't really want the calories and the fat, egg whites are great. Is animal protein better than plant protein? Animal protein is more complete and easier to absorb, but plant-based can absolutely work when you combine sources and eat enough volume. The key is whole foods, either way. Alright, last question. I still have a few, but I don't want to run over with you guys today, and I want to keep it short and sweet. What's the best protein for inflammation? Fish, eggs, lean meats, tofu, lentils, and beans tend to be very anti-inflammatory when paired with veggies and healthy fats. Remember, it's not a one-size-fits-all. You got to figure out what works for you. Experiment. That's all I can say. If you are eliminating a complete macro in your diet, such as fats or protein, I would definitely make sure that you are getting a well-balanced diet in. So make sure you're getting enough, make sure your macros, you're getting enough fat, protein, and carbs. If you have any questions on this, feel free to reach out to me. I do consults every day. I do a free 15-minute meet and greet. If you want to consult me, go over your old labs, I have an option for that. Or if you want to get labs done with me and I create your health plan, we do that as well. I'm also launching in the next couple weeks, just waiting for my artwork to come back from Apple and Android, but I'm launching a whole online workout app to where I go in and critique your nutrition and create meal plans and workouts, and at a very reasonable cost. So look for that in the near future. I will be launching it, and as always, thanks for tuning in. You guys are always awesome. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Talk to you soon.